Thank you so much for joining us. Mi gente, today I am so excited to introduce you to Skarxface. We have a multi-hyphenate Latino because he's making big waves in social media. And I see that he dabbles in a lot of different categories. I came across his account on TikTok and I immediately hit that follow button because he holds no filters and is addressing all the questions ladies have been asking for years. Please help me welcome Edgar Cortez, also known as Skarxface. And give me 1 second. Hello, Edgar. ¿Cómo estás? Good morning.
Good morning. I'm doing great. How about yourself?
Good. Thank you. I'm so sorry. I speak a lot of Spanglish. I didn't even ask you about that. Is it okay if I speak Spanglish?
Oh, you go ahead. I understand both languages. I sometimes throw out some Spanglish out there too. So
okay, good. Hi, Edgar. Oh my God. Okay, so can I play before we even get to meet you the video that actually made me see you first? Which one I came across? Okay. So this is Edgar's first video that I saw.
One thing you should never do to a guy. Now, have you ever noticed when a guy is looking at you and then he's just like looking and looking? The worst thing you can do is tell him what are you looking at? Because he's gonna be like, oh, nothing, oh, never, don't worry about it. The reason we do that is that we're looking at you because we're starting to fall for you, we're starting to feel some sort of way towards you, and we just stare at you and almost be like, oh dang, I can't believe I'm with her, or I can't believe she's talking to me. So those thoughts are going through our head. The worst thing you can do is say what are you looking at? Instead of saying that, be like, hey, hi handsome, or how are you, or something like that. Do not respond what are you looking at, because that completely throws off our vibe. I was staring at a girl one time. I was like, I think I like her. And she's like, what are you looking at? Killed it right there.
That hasta me pegó a mí because I was like, oh, I always tell that to my husband.
I mean, everybody is different. So it's funny when maybe I should have put some more context in the beginning of that video, because some people were like, well, if it's a straight random person, of course I'm going to tell them what. Yes, of course. If it's a random person, tell them what. But I was talking more like when you're in a relationship or you're getting to know somebody. To some guys, like to me, if you tell me what, have you ever noticed like some guys will respond, oh, never mind. Oh, like it, nothing. Yeah. Don't worry about. It's because they were thinking about something and then you completely ruined it with
whatever we just threw out there without even thinking about it. No, so I hate to say this, but I'm like, common sense. Obviously, you're not talking about strangers looking at you. Yeah. But of course, the internet loves to debate and nitpick. Goodness. Okay. So before we dig into like how you got started and everything, I want to get to know Edgar. Edgar, ¿de dónde vienes? Who are you?
So I'm from Idaho. That's where I'm at right now. I'm actually in my studio right now. I'm born and raised here in Idaho. Okay. My parents are from Mexico, Jalisco, and we were born and raised.
Huejuquillo. There you go. Yes, I saw that on your live the other day.
Yeah, El Alto, Jalisco, which is weird because somebody jumped in alive and was exactly from there, and I was like, who are you? Because it's a small town.
Yes, I was like, maybe you're prima and you don't even know it.
Because my cousin didn't jump in, but then the name on this person, I was like, who is that? Like, I don't recognize that person, but who knows? But yeah, they were born there. They came over here. My dad came over here super young, and then he originally went to California, didn't like it, and then he came over to Idaho.
What?
So that's why we ended up here, and it's weird because everyone always thinks that I'm from California for some reason, which I'm actually from Idaho Falls. And then just born and raised here, of course, ups and downs. Luckily, right now, what I'm doing is I have a media company. And so that's why I'm able to, like, if you look at my TikToks, they look a little bit different. I mean, someone like yourself who uses like the something a little bit higher quality to record your podcast know that, you know.
No, I love where you record. I love your lighting. I love the red light. Oh, great job.
And thank you. And people always ask me, they're like, well, I'll get there in a little bit. But so I started doing like just a labor job, right? And I didn't really like the labor job, but it paid well. And so while it was paying well, I finally asked them, hey, can I get a raise? and they basically said, no, you already make too much, you don't need a raise. And I was like, all right, I was here for a long time, you don't want to give me a raise. And instead of being one of those disgruntled employees, be like, even though I did hate going in every day,
Of course.
I decided to change my situation. I was dabbling a little bit into YouTube before that with a little point and shoot camera. And so I decided to buy an actual DSLR, and I was like, let me learn this. Maybe I can make this YouTube thing work. So I started doing that, but then eventually people started, hey, can you do this? Can you do this video? Can you take these photos? And I wasn't charging people in the beginning because I didn't know what I was doing.
Mm-hmm.
But then once you start learning, you start charging. I went like 2 years without charging anybody. I was still working the full-time job and doing my stuff on the side just because I'm glad I did it that way. That's why I always tell people practice, because it gave me all this practice before I started charging people. And then when I started charging people, I felt comfortable doing it. And so I've been doing my media company, and now I've been doing this, my own company for a couple of years now, but I've been doing media professionally for about 4 to 5 years now. And so like I'm doing my stuff full time now. And then, so I'll get into the TikToks, like why I started doing the TikToks. So on Instagram, they have that anonymous question thing, where you can put a little thing on your stories, and then people ask you anonymous questions. And so the only way you can respond is through text. Maybe you can throw in a little photo, a little something on there. And so it's funny. There's this girl, hopefully she listens to it. She's the one that actually motivated me to do the videos. She's like, why don't you answer in a video? And I was like, oh, it's because the app doesn't let you answer in a video. It just lets you respond in text. She's like, well, you do media. Like, how is it not that hard? I was like, you know what I mean? I was like, that's a lot of work. Now I got to set up a camera. I got to set up lights. I got to set up a microphone. I got to do everything just to record some of these. And so I was like, you know what? I'll do one round. You know how it goes 24 hours? So I was like, I'll do one round. And like the third video I posted, it just took off, and I was like, oh, maybe people do want to see this, and then the more I like started posting, the more people started asking. And now it's so out of control how many DMs I have of questions people wanting me to ask. And then when I put the poll up or the thing up on my stories, it just gets crazy. And I feel like not only do they look nice, I feel like they do well because the content is good on there. And the people that know me, I'm raw. I'm honest. You ask me, I have no filter. I'm going to tell you. And like we mentioned earlier, I don't act like I'm no saint, right? Like I put girls in situationships. I had my rosters. I was talking to multiple girls at once. You know what I mean? Like I would ghost girls. I would hook up with a girl and just like completely like not even message her back just because I wasn't interested. I was just more interested in hooking up.
Yeah.
And things like that. So I was like, let me help spread the awareness of like how us guys act, because I feel like it's not healthy for a lot of people, especially because the last one the girl that I hurt last, she was like started crying. It hurt like 3 girls all at once, right?
Wow.
Like she started crying, the other girl went crazy, and the other girl, she was just like whatever, But you know what I mean? I was like, damn, I'm hurting too many people doing this. Like, why am I like? And it's way too stressful trying to talk to multiple people at once. I'm like, why do I put myself through that? And so that's why like I feel like the TikTok videos they do so well, just because I'll give my honest opinion. If it's something that I really don't know, I just give like what I would do. And then also that's why I also bring girls on. I'll bring on different people. That way they can answer. If you go a little bit further back on my TikToks, you'll see that there's some girls on my. I'll put the poll up and say, hey, like, what questions do you have for her?
Yeah.
Now the way I have it set up now is like, the next time I have a guest is like it's gonna record me and it's gonna record her. Like me ask the question, her answer, and if we talk about it, it's just gonna go back and forth, almost like a podcast, but in a really short.
I like that. I really, really like that. And let me actually play another video. I was laughing, and I think this is a video that describes exactly what you're saying. You're very raw. You're very honest. I love the fact that you hold yourself accountable, but you're just being you. And I think that's what's selling. or that's what's getting our attention, right? Because it's just you. Like when I'm watching your videos, I feel like estoy hablando con el primo. Like I don't feel like, you know, you're trying to sell me something. And I like that. So let me play this video. This is hilarious. Let me do that.
Ask your female TikTok followers, what do they consider as small blank? So ladies, let these guys know, because I get this question a lot. What is considered small? And this is something that we also think about, just because we don't know what is considered small. If you watch these videos online, the nudie ones, you can see that they're obviously, you know, they're hanging low with something, obviously, because they're making these videos. But to like an average guy, everyday guy, what is a good size for you guys? Because some guys may feel like they're
too small, but they're actually average.
Some guys may feel like they're too big, but they're actually average. You know what I mean? Like some guys think that they're packing. But ladies, let us know what a good size is.
Oh my God, I was laughing so bad at that one. So he's obviously talking about eggplants. That's what he's talking about.
Yeah. And it's funny because so I'll use like if people go and watch my TikTok, I can't say certain words on TikTok because they'll mute my sounds. You can't. I don't know if your podcast is edited. I don't know if you can.
Yes, yeah, I have to edit it. Well, only to say like the beep. Like I'll just put like a beep in there or something,
so
or I'll mute it.
I'll save the editing for you. I can't say like the S word, obviously, when you're being intimate with people. I can't say my thing, your thing. I can't say the word that rhymes with corn. You know what I mean? Like a lot of those things, I find out. I'm like, oh my God, they just muted another sound. You know,
wow.
Or not like another video. So that's why like people are like, why don't you just say it? Well, because they don't let me. You know, like one of my big
that's
videos.
common sense, though. Ay, la gente. Te digo, it's hilarious. I mean, obviously, and then you don't know who's gonna come across your TikTok, like. Here I cuss and I do whatever, but obviously my son's on TikTok. My soon-to-be 15-year-old is on TikTok. I can't talk exclusively, or he can't be hearing what I'm talking about. You know what I mean? So, and I kind of appreciate that you're editing your content in that way, just in case my son comes across your page. Then you know he has to.
I've had some younger kids message me on there. There was also like a video. He was like super young. Or not a video that I made. I don't want people to get all confused. A video that I made because he asked a question. And he asked, just because he was curious, he was like, how come I haven't grown in a few years? Like I'm still the same size as I was when I was younger. You know what I mean? And I was like, honestly, I don't know when that ends up growing, but you shouldn't be too worried. I wasn't like, well, what size are you? I was like, just just accept whatever you have, learn how to use it. Because if you watch a lot of these videos, a lot of the girls are like, oh, as long as you just know how to use it and know how to like be intimate with whoever you're with, it goes a long way. Like it does. Size, of course, there's people who are gonna care about size, but there's less of them, you know.
No, because that's what I was gonna say. You know, in all reality, in my opinion, even though I've only had one guy in my whole life, which is my husband, it's all about how you use it, how you're in that moment. When they talk about size and stuff, I'm like, well, damn, like, how long is your hallway, homegirl? Like, geez. You know, and it's not like our G-spot is all the way in our soul. Like, so I don't know. That's just my opinion, but again, yo que sé, ¿verdad?
And I always have people ask me, like, I posted that video a while back ago, and then I had more people actually DM me, and I was like, I'm just going to repost the same video because it's basically the same question.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I could try to add a little bit more humor to it, and it's funny because I don't even try to be funny in these, you know what I mean? Like, I just talk this is me. Know me in person, I'm always goofing around. I'm always like saying the dumbest things, you know. And so a lot of people have liked that in the videos, you know, like so. So
okay, so question. Ever since you started this journey, and now that you're getting that traction, and you're building your community, your following and stuff, how do you feel like being in charge of like your hours, your work, you know, doing all that?
It's hard because you have to have that discipline. Like anyone, like if you're self-employed, if you have your own company, if you're whatever you're doing, you have to have that discipline in order to hold yourself accountable. A lot of people think just because you have your own business means you can do whatever you want. Yeah, I can kind of do whatever I want as long as I get my stuff done. You know what I mean? So like in the mornings, after the gym, I'll come in here, I'll write down what I need to get done today. Like, finish this video, I need to go film this, I need to go do that, I need to do this. And at the end of the day, some people would be like, all right, I'm done, like, I'm tired, I'm gonna go home. No, I'm just like, all right, I gotta film some TikToks because I gotta get like content for me. So I'll spend another like 2-3 hours just recording, not even editing, just recording the TikToks, just so I can have TikToks to post every day. So if you'll notice, I'll post like 2 or 3 every day.
Yeah. You stay constant, and I think that's huge, because a lot of people do not understand exactly how much labor goes into it. Like, anybody can sit in front of a camera and talk and all that, but it takes way more than that. It takes personality, it takes skills, it takes patience.
See, videos, like I have, like, I'm not using it right now, but like I said, I have a media company, so I do have a lot of equipment that don't have, which it's, it benefits me, so I can use it. But at the same time, like, just the editing, like, I color grade all my videos, I mix all my audio, you know what I mean? Like, if I add graphics onto it and just things like that. But what people don't see, people just see the short clip and they think, oh, you just turned on the camera and uploaded the video. That's not how it works.
That would be nice, right? Then everybody would do it.
That would be amazing.
Everybody would do it if it was that easy. But okay, Edgar. So your family's from Guadalajara, Jalisco. Or I'm sorry, not from Jalisco, right? Jalisco. And you were born over here. You're in Idaho. When you were younger, did you know what you wanted to do?
Honestly, no. I mean, we all go through... I did know from a young age that I wanted to own businesses.
Okay.
You know what I mean? That I thought I was going to buy like a franchise or something like that and just like run those, which maybe could still be the goal later on. But right now, I'm investing into myself, my companies, because I do multiple things. I do, like, we have a hat pin company. We have, like, I sell merchandise. I have the podcast. I have... Yes,
please let them know your... And I'll have all this information in the bottom description in the box. And if I use this video, I'll put it in the video here somewhere. Let them know where they can find you, your website.
So if you go over to my Instagram, in my bio, I have my links. Once you click on that Skarxface visuals /links or something, it'll take you to all my links. It'll take you to my personal page, my podcast, my TikTok, like all that, like the pin company. It's all linked in there. It's easier to do.
So I'm looking at it. I'm looking at it right now. And that's why I was like, oh, but it is a pretty long thing. Well, not really. It's Skarxface, Scar with the K, and then between Scar and Face, the X, visuals.com/links. And you guys can find everything on there. I really like your merch.
Oh, thank you.
Do you design that yourself?
So I had my logo made. So a lot of people don't realize that this is an S and an F. And then this is in the shape of an I. So kind of like the Skarxface visuals. And then the V too. So all the merch and stuff I just create the graphics and stuff like that. And for the podcast. And then I'll just upload it to, I use a print on demand site. They just print it for me and then just ship it out and everything. It's a lot easier that way, just because, well, if you add something else to your, like, say you add multicam to your setup, now you're gonna have to edit everything else. So like, if you even just by adding another camera is a lot more editing, Yes. So it's the same thing with like different. Yeah, you want to have different revenues and income, but if you make it take a lot of your time away, then it's is it worth it? Is it worth it?
Yeah, but I mean, I like the hat pins. I like the merch because I love that little logo. I didn't really see the S and the F, to be honest with you.
Oh, you're fine. You're fine.
Pero it's pretty cool. I was like, oh, that's really cute. And, at least for me, like, I would wear that. And then apart from that, you have your own podcast, Mezcla of Moguls.
Mogul. So it's funny because it originally started as like more as a entrepreneur type of podcast. I would interview people here locally. I even got like some really big YouTubers on it and stuff like that, right? But then, so with the media company too, we also on the weekends we also do like events, right? We have like weddings and quinces and stuff like that. So I have like a separate team and we go and do that. But here in the summer, we call it wedding season, quince season, because every weekend we have gigs, and it was just getting too hard for me like to do this stuff. Like what I mean, this stuff is like my company, like the content for the clients that I have, the weddings, and then also on top of that, record a podcast, get guests, like do everything. I was doing everything solo.
That's a lot.
And so I took a break on it, and then after that, that's when I started doing the TikToks, and I've noticed a lot of people wanted like a more detailed answer on certain things. So I was like, you know what? Let me do the podcast that way. That way I can use the TikTok and push people over towards the podcast. And as soon as I started doing that, I was doing great with the other podcast. And another reason why I wanted to stop it is because around here, there is a lot of podcasts similar,
Oh, okay.
And so I was like, I need to pivot. I need to do something different just so I don't want to do the same thing as everybody else. And so, I was like, I already have the TikTok that's growing. I was like, I can use that, I can leverage that for the podcast. And so I did that. And all of a sudden the views, but the downloads on it just shot up. Because like I'll post clips on TikTok and or I'll talk about it when I go on live and stuff. I'll be like, hey, I have the podcast, go check it out. And so it's been helping. I'm like, okay, I found something else here. This is helping push this. And I'm not doing very much to promote it.
Yes. So that's kind of sort of what happened to me, where I started the podcast a few years ago and then I kind of stopped because I didn't really see any traction, and now I'm back to it and I'm like, no, I'm actually going to dedicate myself to it, and I'm dedicating myself to the content, and I'm trying to prioritize right now and find that balance because it is really hard. So if I ever have to pick your brain, I'll email you.
That's why I was like, you should post these on TikTok. Like people like to see a visual. I keep getting messages saying that why don't I do a visual form of the podcast? And I'm like, you don't understand. Like if I add visual, now I have to like that, edit that, upload that, and then I have to take clips from that. I was like, eventually I'm going to get to the point where I want to get to the point where I can dedicate it, be like, hey, we'll record it, you edit it. And same with the TikToks. I just want to come down, sit here, record them, and then be like, all right, edit them. This is how I want them. And then just send me them. Like, that's basically it.
Yeah.
But eventually, to get to that point, you have to pay somebody to do that,
No, well, yeah, but you're building. But I see you getting there. Getting there. You're such a hustler. I think I really enjoy that about you. You're a really good hustler.
See, with this, like, you can use, like, clips and stuff that are going to push people over to your podcast,
That's what I've been doing, yeah. And you see the growth.
Yeah, because some people will get curious because a lot of people are on TikTok. If you are not on, I don't care what people say, like, oh, China's going to get I don't care what you say. Like, your information is already everywhere and you're afraid of TikTok. Like, you sign up for stuff online, you agree to the terms and services everywhere.
Everybody's on there. It's
but you're afraid of TikTok?
Yes. No. Don't be afraid. I love it. It's been a great tool for myself. So I definitely see that. But I have come to realize that consistency and that discipline is the one that makes you grow. I never got that before. And now that I'm posting every day, that I'm doing and I'm trying my best and stuff, I see the rewards of having that ¿cómo se dice? That success, that growth. But yeah,
you said you have kids, right?
I'm sorry,
you said you have kids.
One.
Yeah, see, like, and it's even harder because people don't realize that you also have to be a wife. You have to be a mom, and then on top of that, like, I don't know if you also work outside the podcast. Like, if you have if you have a job, and on top of that, that's where people quit right there, is like, because they want to take that extra time they have and just use it to watch Netflix and use it just to lay around. But then there's people who are like, how'd you get there? well, have you seen how my day went? Like, I took literally no breaks.
Exactly. I'm going on vacation this coming week. I leave and I'm leaving, and instead of just being like, oh well, I'll figure it out once I get back, I'm like, no, I'm gonna wake up early. He said 7, let's do it. Like, let me just get what I need done. That way I have content from when I come back. Like, I already did the promos for this. I already I already have everything set to just copy and paste once I'm done editing and doing all that. So yeah, you have to stay ahead, and you can't just be like, oh yeah, I'll do it tomorrow. No, you have to do it today. So.
Yeah, because there's somebody else who's going to come right along and work a little bit harder than you and get that traction you were supposed to get, but you just decided to take some time, or decided to slack off a little bit.
Yes. And another thing I have to say, I really, really liked, because you don't understand how many Latinos I reach out to, because I try to keep it with our comunidad, like I really try. I feel like we're finally getting that recognition that we should have been getting since many, many years ago. And I see so many Latinos succeeding nowadays. And if I were to tell you how many mean Latinos I've come across or that want to gatekeep, I'm like, I can't with you. And I've never, ¿cómo se dice? I've never put out the interviews that I've had with them because the vibe was just off. I don't even like to say who I'm going to do an interview with, because I'm like, I don't know how they are like in real person, because you could be one person in email and then so I have to say I really appreciate that about you, that right away you were like, let's do it. And
some people, I don't know why so I used to watch, I don't know if you saw that clip going around. I used to watch George Lopez all the time, right?
Yes. That's why I brought it up.
and then when he started acting like that towards Ralph Barbosa, which hilarious dude, like he's funny. I'm like, why would you be like that? And then more people are coming out saying like, yeah, that's how he is. Like he doesn't. If there's any other Latino on on that card, he's like, I don't want them. It's only me. It's like, you either get them or you get me. And you know what I mean? Like, why wouldn't you? And only to the Latinos. Like, he wouldn't do it to somebody who was white, somebody who was black. I'm like, why wouldn't you want to help your own people? Like, we're supposed to help each other grow, like we're supposed to help one another, because, I mean, I mentioned it one time on the podcast that I have, like a lot of, I'll just say like white people don't realize how much racism does still go on, because it never happens to them. Like, how is it going to how is racism going to happen to them? I mean, of course, maybe somebody could be a little bit racist because they're white, but the majority of the time, like, I remember I get profiled just for being brown. Like, I was walking down the street and, like, you can tell right away, like, I have tattoos and stuff like that. I'm not your average looking guy. And this lady does that whole purse thing. Like, she grabs her purse. Like, she had no reason to move her purse to the other side. Grabs her purse, moves it to the other side, and, like, keeps walking and kind of gives me, like, one of those. Like, I'm like, more than likely, if somebody would try to steal your purse, I'd probably help you. Like,
yes. So that, and see, I kind of feel bad because I've met George Lopez.
Yeah, see,
I met him, and he was really nice. Okay, this is how nice he was. He actually took us out to dinner.
Wow.
Se portó súper bien con nosotros. He paid for our dinner. Like, I cannot say anything bad. When that first came out, I'm the type of person that I'm like, that's like a 30-second clip. I need to see like the whole interview. What are they talking about? What made him say that? Like, what happened? And so I saw the whole interview. I don't know if you've gone to watch the whole interview. Did you?
No, I haven't.
So I feel like they got that clip and just ran with it, to be honest with you. And let me explain why. So they're talking about in the podcast about making it. And the guy, Trevino, I believe, is saying, when I was coming up, I would see you, George, and you were like my idol. And, but nobody gave me a handout. Nobody would give me the opportunity. I had to produce some of my stuff by myself. And I feel like we should all come together. And he mentions Ralph Barbosa first, like in the beginning of the thing, and then he mentions him several times throughout. And it's at the last time that George Lopez was like, why do you keep saying this kid? Like, who the fuck is he? Pero I took it as he's like, okay, who is this kid? But I don't think it's fair for anybody to give him a free pass. Like, you have to put in the work. So I think they just grabbed that clip and really put it out of content, and now they're running also with the whole Eric Estrada coming out and saying stuff about George, and then Paul Rodriguez crying, saying stuff about George, and I'm like, okay, I can't help, hear their stories out of their own mouths, pero ya ves que there's always three sides to one story. And so it's hard for me to be like, oh, he was right, he was wrong. Who am I to decide that, right? Pero something that I do see is that is very common in our community. We, for some reason, cannot see other Latinos succeed.
Yeah, it's weird because, like, it's not so much here in the U.S., but if you go to Mexico, like, how the level of jealousy, the level of...
oh, my God, yes.
It is bad out there. And I'm like, why are we like that? Like, why can't we be like, when a fighter makes it, how like there's Canelo, everybody's rooting for Canelo. They're like, oh, he's from Mexico, he's from this, like, we got to support our people. Well, why can't you be like that for everyone?
Exactly.
Instead of going to get like some, like, say, your nails done, instead of going to some commercial place, go with this lady over here that that she's from the same neighborhood from you, and things like that. People are always, I've seen a lot of jealousy. Is other Hispanics, but at the end of the day, like, there's nothing you can do. You can't fix. There's something wrong with them at the end of the day. You know what I mean? Like,
yes, definitely, 100%. Because a mí nadie me ha dado un free pass, but I'll help out the next person because there's food for everyone. There's an audience for everyone. Like, there's not just one. Todos tienen algo. You know what I mean? So definitely, I'm glad that we touched on that. And I just have to say thank you so much for being a kind Latino.
oh, yeah, all the time,
Thank you. Thank you.
Much easier, and it feels so much better to be nice than to be a rude, jealous individual.
Yes, 100%. So kind of going back to you, Edgar, I want to know, what is the story behind Skarxface? Why the nickname?
So actually, I do have a scar on my face. It's right here. When I was born with a cleft palate.
Oh.
And so this was, for the people that know, the cleft palate, it's like open. Some people get it a little bit worse than other people. Mine wasn't so bad. So it was just open where my lip is, all the way inside my mouth to my nose. So they had to just close it shut, and it left a scar like in the front of my lip. I had to have like multiple surgeries to fix my nose, the inside of my mouth, and things like that, just because, like I said, I had a minor case. There's people who their face are just caved in,
yes.
Just because of it. So I had a minor case of it, but I was always self-conscious about the scar on my lip. I felt like if we were having a conversation like this, you were staring at it. So I was like, I would always put my hand up like this and like talk to you like that. And so one day I was just like, there's nothing I can do about this scar. Like, it's gonna be there. Like, why not just embrace it? Embrace it, tell everybody it's there, and then people are just like, oh, we don't even notice it, especially with your beard. Like, we barely even notice that it's there. It's like, now that I look at it, I can tell you have a scar. But before, it's like, we didn't even know.
Do you think that was because maybe, as kids, getting picked on, or maybe just feeling insecure because you're growing up and you don't know who you are? You know what I mean?
That, and this is why it's important to like teach your kids when kids are different.
Yes.
When I grew up, like I said, I was going through, like, my nose was misshaped a little bit, and so like kids would pick on me about it, like, because it was a little different. They would pick on it because I had they said I had like a smudge on my lip, and just things like that. So and then when so I had braces for the longest time, because when you do have a cleft palate, it does mess up everything, and sometimes your teeth will grow in random places. Oh. And so my front tooth grew in sideways, right? And just kids would just pick on you, be like, oh, and so you started to feel different. Not only was I Hispanic, and like it was mainly a white community.
Predominantly white.
And now I'm different with like, because I have my cleft palate issues. So now I even feel even more like different than other people. And so, you know, but eventually you start learning that, you know, you can't do anything about it, right? You can't do anything about it. You notice that other people, they don't even pay attention to it. And then I got it fixed and whatnot. And the more I embrace my flaws, I felt like the just more confident I became.
Yes.
You know, it didn't bug me. Now I don't care. Like if someone's like, "Dude, you have a scar on your face," I'm like, "Yeah, I had a cleft palate."
I would be like, you should see the other guy.
Yeah. I wanted to use that for the longest time. Be like, yeah, he pulled out a knife, he cut me, but he didn't end so well for him.
Yes. So I was sick I grew up being sick. Until this day, I'm disabled. And so I grew up with a lot of insecurities. And then, like you said, growing up, the good thing though is that growing up, I was like in a community where it was just Hispanics, puros Mexicanos, y Latinos. And then we moved to like the east of San Diego, and that was like a melting pot of African Americans, Somalis, Samoans, Arabics, like from everywhere, right? But I would see that everybody was wearing like crop tops and stuff, and I had this huge scar on my stomach. And I was like, oh my God, like that's so embarrassing. And then I stand out because of my moles in my face. And, you know, I thought I was the ugliest thing walking on earth. Y también scared that kids would make fun of me. But thankfully, I was never bullied, other than for not speaking English, because I didn't speak English for like the first 10 years of my life. Pero sí, puede ser una inseguridad muy grande. Muy, muy grande. Would you say that that's one of the toughest times of your life?
That one,
or what would you say was one of your toughest times in life?
Probably after my long breakup, because I was with somebody with like for almost 8 years, and then we ended up splitting before then, like before we hit 8 years. I think just after that, because no one really prepares you for. This is why I can also relate to, like, I know it's not as easy to leave somebody, and it sucks afterwards because you want to go back, but you know if you go back, it's going to be the same thing, you know. But I know, like, just learning how to heal yourself after that, because yes, you get like you go through your stages, like it's an emotional roller coaster. Because I was like super depressed sometimes, and then some days I was just like, I need to get out of the house. I need to leave. Like, I can't sit here and just like think about things like that. You know, so I would think that would be the hardest time. Not so much when I was younger, just because at the end of the day I was a little punk too. So like if you would say something to me, like I got to the point where I would get. So I started hanging out with a bunch of friends too, right? And now this is why. A lot of kids don't understand why a lot of the Hispanics would stick together, because we would all get like called out. We would walk down the hallway. I remember this clearly, like, and some kids would just yell out "Spix," like just out of nowhere, just for the fun of it. And of course, you turn around to see who it is, and it's a bunch of people, and you can't really be like, it was this guy. You know what I mean? So, but the more we hung out with our friends, the less people would tell us stuff.
Oh my God. I cannot believe you experienced that.
Yeah, and that was in high school, so it wasn't even like little kid things.
Grown ass kids. Oh my God. Okay, so if you don't mind me asking, how old are you, Edgar?
I am 34.
Oh, okay. I'm 36. I'm going to be 37 in April. Okay, so you grew up around the same time I did. Wow, that's crazy.
See, that's why I tell people, is like, just because you don't think, and just a couple years ago, like I had somebody like want to fight me just out of nowhere. Like I hadn't, obviously he was a white guy, and he just wanted to fight me because he thought I was up to no good. And when I was out just taking pictures, and he just started calling me a bunch of names I don't want to say them on here.
Yeah.
So I was like, dude, like, what did I do to you? I didn't do nothing. I was just out here taking pictures, you know. And they don't realize that stuff like that happens to us, you know. Or another like I forgot what they call it, but some guy asked my name, and he's like, "Here, I'm gonna give you this because I don't know how to. I'm for sure you have like 5 last names." And I'm like, "It's just Cortez." And they're like, "Oh, well, it's because like a lot of you like Hispanics come in here and they'll have like like so and so. I'm like, "Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that, but can't assume, like, you know what I mean?"
Damn. Yeah, I'd be pissed. You know what? The worst thing that I ever got, and this till this day, it kind of offends me. I guess it just depends who it's coming from, because if it's somebody that's white and they're like "Hola," or "Adios," and I'm like, I don't speak Spanish. Why are you speaking Spanish to me? Oh, I just, your name's Maribel. And I'm like, so? Like, because it pisses me off. I'm like, if I'm talking to you in English, there's no reason for you to be like, hola. It's just, it's annoying. But, I'm so sorry you went through that. That really sucks.
Yeah, I mean, you go through it. You learn how to, it's funny because you learn how to be numb to those type of things.
Yeah.
Because when they over and over, you're just like, yeah, whatever. Like, they're dumb. Yeah. But then, obviously, it gets a little worse.
I always say the good thing about having President number 45 was that we got to know all of our neighbors.
Yeah.
It just brought them out to the light, because I thought we had left this behind. Especially, como te digo, growing up in the East County of San Diego, I was with all kinds of people, and it was never about race. Never. Like, the worst thing that we had was maybe like blacks against Mexicans, and that was just like stupid stuff. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't like serious or whatever, but I had all kinds of friends de todo tipo, and I hear all kinds of different music and stuff. So it breaks my heart when I hear people that have lived either in the Midwest or the East Coast and have experienced, like, truthfully, like, racism. Truthful racism. That sucks. Ay. Okay, so what is something that you are still learning about yourself, Edgar?
That's actually a good question. What am I still learning about myself? This has happened over time, is I really stopped caring about what other people think about me. You know what I mean? I really stopped thinking. That's why, like, I'll say whatever I want. I dress however I want. I do whatever I want. Like, when I do my dancing videos, people don't realize that's me taking a break from editing for like 4 or 5 hours. And I'm like, I just need to like get up. I just need to like walk around.
Stretch.
Like, say a song comes on and I'm like, oh, that song is dope. So, and I'll just like start just dancing around, and then it's funny because this one guy is like, Dad, it's like, why do you do those? Those are kind of cringy. I was like, bro, they're fun.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you don't like it, I was like, it's only cringy because you wouldn't do it. I was like, go on my Instagram, go on my TikTok, and you'll see everybody like, oh, I love your vibes. Like, I suck at dancing, but I know how to move to the music,
Yes. I think it's fun when you do that, honestly, in my opinion, because it makes me want to dance too.
Yeah, and some people are too afraid to that. There's always like the two, and that's what I'm still like learning, that because there's a few things that still bug you. There are always gonna be things that bug everybody, but you start learning how like it really doesn't matter. Like that's why like I'll do whatever I want. Like do the dances if I want. I'll do the get ready videos. I don't know if you've seen those. Like
yeah.
Other day I actually used makeup. I went to the dollar store and I got a bunch of like just cheap makeup. I don't know what I bought. Like I just know I bought something, and I did that. And my buddy was like, "You really used makeup?" I was like, "Yeah, I made the video funnier." Like
yeah. I mean, just like, being able to express yourself then is probably.
Like, I was like, I don't do that. Like I just did it for the video. It's not like I have a stash of makeup and I'm like, I get ready every morning. No, like. Yeah, just learning how to like almost like just get rid of this noise, you know what I mean? Because it's always those people like, what is this person gonna think of me? What does this person think? Like,
that is
we're always
hard though. Let's talk about that, because that is hard, Edgar, to do. That is really hard to noise out stuff. To be honest with you, I'm still working, on the confidence side, and I just started, like I said, I started being consistent with my material, and I had to turn off comments because I just don't want to hear it. I can't right now. And I'm like, let me do it on my terms, but God, it's so hard.
So one thing that like comments, it's funny because there'll be 20 positive comments and then there'll be like that one, and you're just like, why? And that one sticks in your head. But at the end of the day, like I get a bunch of weird comments too on my TikToks, and I'm like, cool, you know, like I don't care anymore. Because before, when I was doing my YouTube, you would see a bad comment and be like, that was horrible. Like you did. I'm like, how was it horrible? You know, like you start like almost like dissecting what you did, and like, how can I make it better? Like this one person said it was bad, but everybody else loved the video, you know? And so I started learning that you can, at the end of the day, you're not going to please everybody.
Oh, like, no somos monedita de oro.
So that's why, like, a lot of people, like, when I was doing the podcast, they don't like the way they talk. I'm like, what do you think you sound like in person? I'm like, did your voice come out? Like, do you think you sound different in person? Because the way you sound on the podcast is the way you sound to me. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And so it's because some people were like, oh, I don't like the way you look. I was like, we're not perfect either. I was like, you see these like celebrities and which get $1,000 like worth of surgeries, and of course they're gonna look great because they're on TV all the time, you know. But look at everybody else. Like people are beautiful, but they think that just because they have a few flaws that now they're considered ugly. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because like when I take pictures of some girls, they're like, oh, get this side because I don't really like that side. So I really do focus on the side they like because I want them to like the pictures. But at the end of the day, like say I took this shot, right? And she'll be like, oh, I don't like how this looked, or I don't like how my arm looked. And I'm looking at the arm like, what's wrong with the arm? You know, like what's wrong with the arm? Like I don't see what it looks fine. You know?
No,
you know what I mean?
We're the worst. I feel women are the worst when it comes to like pictures, videos, and how we look. Just because I feel like society already puts so many standards on us, and our looks is just that one that matters the most.
Yeah.
When in reality, it's not.
Yeah, a lot of people, because another thing that helped me is like everybody's gonna judge you regardless. Like, you can be the skinniest, fittest person, and they're gonna be like, oh, he thinks he's badass because he's super skinny and fit. Or you can be the heaviest person, they're gonna be like, this person needs to work. Like there's gonna be no balance. Like no matter what you do, somebody's always gonna have something to say. You have brand new podcast. Oh, it's a brand new podcast, nobody's gonna listen to it. There's a lot of like get a lot of followers, a lot of views, be like, oh, it's because they got lucky and like so and so. You know what I mean? Like there's always like it. And I realize that at the end of the day, I'm not going to please everybody. If you like my content, you're going to watch it. If not, then cool. There's other people on TikTok too. You know, like there's people who like comment like there was this lady that commented. It's funny like when ugly people talk about the S word, and I'm like, I went to her profile and I was like, it's always the ugly people that complain. And she didn't respond to me. I think she blocked me.
You know what? I hope she did. The nerve sometimes of people.
I was like, and it's funny because I will, if you throw something at me, I'm gonna throw it right back. You know, like if you say something at me,
as you should,
throw it right back. Like,
yes.
And it's funny because I had like on the Instagram, some people were like, when the TikTok was a lot smaller, they were like, oh, nobody wants to hear your stuff, and this is and that. And then like a week later, I posted a post saying, well, 1 million people did like what I had to say on the TikToks. I was like, so you're wrong.
Exactly. And you know what? With that in mind, can you name one person that challenges you the most?
That challenges me the most?
Even if it's yourself.
I think it would be myself, just because at the end of the day, like when you want to do something like this, whether it be like your own business, social media, you have to learn how to, like we mentioned earlier, how to discipline yourself, how to motivate yourself. They're like, oh, how do you motivate yourself? Well, I just see the bigger goal. Like I see the bigger goal, and I know to get to that bigger goal, you have to put in the work. Like it's no one's gonna come and be like, hey, here's this. I was like, so all these long days, all these long hours, all these like this time that I barely take any time I love what I do, so it helps a lot more. So I really never feel like I'm working. But at the end of the day, you still have to push yourself. Kind of like when you have to push yourself to go to the gym, you still have to push yourself to record the podcast, edit the podcast, put the podcast out, make clips, promote it. Like all this stuff takes work, takes motivation, and in the beginning, nobody is paying you for it. So it's all coming out of your will, like, and
Your
that's
sacrifices, your sacrifices.
And so I'm always like, I know what I want. I didn't get to where I'm at. Like some people will come into my studio and be like, how did you get all this stuff? Because I worked for it, you know. I reinvest all my money into my business, you know. I barely spend any money on me anymore. But I am going to take a vacation this weekend. But
I know. We'll talk about that off air, though.
I'll be in LA. And so, you know what I mean? Like, it just always the motivation to push yourself, because at the end of the day, nobody's going to come and push me to do this stuff. At the end of the day, you have to find it, whatever it is, like wherever it is inside you, whether it be in your heart, your head, and you have to motivate yourself to, and just think of that bigger goal. Because it's funny, because if you watch these like motivational people online, they're always like, you have to find the will or your why. And that's true. I want to be able to just do like social media and still have my media company. But you've seen some of these TikTok people who get paid millions of dollars for posting videos. And so I was like, I know I can get to that point, but it's going to take work. It's going to take time too.
You believe in yourself, though, and you see yourself there, which is, I think, the key ingredient that many people miss. You know, and especially I feel like in our community, the Latino community, we didn't grow up hearing, I'm proud of you. We didn't grow up hearing, yes, you can do that. You know, it was more like, no estés de payaso, ponte serio, like, ¿qué vas a estudiar? Tienes que ir a estudiar, you know?
Cool, get a job, my mom still asks me, how come I don't have kids? How come I'm not married? You know, and like, to me, I'm like, that's not what I want. Like, I understand that's where you came from, and that's what you think the normal is, but that's not what I want. I was like, if I find somebody along the way, cool. If not, I went to school. I'm 3 classes away from graduating to get my bachelor's in communication and visual media, but I never finished it because I was spending too much time in school away from what was actually working.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So I tell people, I was like, I'll eventually go back and get it. But afterwards, the people that are graduating right now, they're trying to do what I'm doing now. So why am I like, you know, it didn't make sense for me to keep like going and wasting my time there. But like I said, people listening, I'm going to go back and get it. So I know it's only 3 classes, but those 3 classes is a whole semester, and I have to find the time to...
You got this. I believe in you. Who would you say has had the biggest impact in your life?
The biggest impact, excuse me. So a lot of people will right away say parents, but they're a huge motivator to me, saying in a way of... I'm going to show you what I'm doing works. You know, it's not always like what you think it's supposed to be. You know what I mean? Because like, I know sometimes my parents get asked, oh, how come, you know, he's not married, or what is he doing? How come he doesn't have kids? You know, the normal, like what society says is normal.
Yeah.
So to me, what motivates me to like, is to show them that I can do that. But the person who's had the biggest impact on me is actually 2 people. It's my buddy. His name is Troy. Okay. Troy and Brandy, they're married. They own a barber shop, 45 minutes. I always go to them. It's like 30 minutes away. It's Graffiti Beauty and Barber, but they're the ones that always like push you. They see your potential, and they're like, you need to do this, you need to do this. And I listen. And when I listen, things start changing. You know what I mean? Like, I remember in the beginning, they're like, dude, you need to make yourself legit. You need to get a studio. And then that's when I had my little studio. But of course, I was scared and stuff like that. I signed up, like I registered my business, got the studio, and then all of a sudden, within a month, I had outgrown the studio. I was like, I should have got something way bigger, like, because everything did change. As soon as I went legit, everything like started changing, right?
Yeah.
And not too long ago, I had to make another business decision that I was like, I didn't know if I wanted to do it. And then finally, I had a buddy tell me, who also works at the shop, and he's like, as soon as you make this decision, he's like, your stuff is gonna blow. And as soon as I made that decision, everything just started going even bigger, you know? And I'm like, you know, as long as you surround yourself with these type of people, but Troy and Brandy, biggest influences because they always, not only do they see the greatness in you, they're always like pushing you, like, hey, like you need to do this, you need to do that. Like,
Damn,
talk
now
to this person.
you're gonna make me have to fly out to Idaho to go get my hair done over there.
I'm telling you, so like it's cool. That's why like the hat pin company I have is with his nephew, like because it's nothing but hustlers there. So another thing that I tell people to go to is I go to barber conventions and just like barber and beauty conventions, just because everybody that's there probably has a shop or is there hustling, you know. And I like to surround myself with hustlers because they're, when you surround yourself, and it's not like, oh, I'm trying to be better than you, I'm trying to be better. It's like, hey, like let's make each other grow, you know, let's do this, let's do that. And now with those same people that I told you that have a huge impact, we're actually going to start like an entrepreneur, and not an entrepreneur, it's like more of a networking group where we're going to meet once a month, and we're going to select who can come to it. And it's almost going to be like, hey, like, what are you up to? What are you doing this month? Oh, I'm trying to do this, I'm doing this and this, I'm trying to do this. And if I can help you in any way, be like, hey, yo, let me link you to this person who I know can help you, you know, help you with that, you know, and like kind of just like network.
Wow, that'd be awesome. Oh my God, email me that, please.
Yeah, see, and like, and just surrounding yourself with these people. And it all started with them believing in what I was doing and just pushing me, you know?
Yeah. No, but that's amazing though. I feel like you are who you surround yourself with. So 100%. When I see any type of jealousy or anything that rubs me the wrong way, I'm like, we need to back up, because no tienes nada que envidiarme. Like, my father raised me to always be friendly with everybody, Leslie, because the same people that you see on your way up is the same people that you'll see on your way down. Exactly. And so me decía, nunca envidies a nadie. Si traen mejor carro que tú, piensa qué sacrificios hizo esa persona para tener ese carro, porque tú también lo puedes tener, pero tienes que hacer sacrificios, y a lo mejor son más grandes de los que ellos tuvieron que hacer, o son más pequeños de los que ellos tuvieron. Tú nunca sabes las circunstancias de alguien más. And that has stuck with me for a really, really long time.
Yeah, because I never get jealous of people, kind of like what you just said. When you see somebody with something nice, because like I actually barely met these guys. They have like a whole sales group, and they all have like these supercars, and I'm like, wow. I'm like, if I surround myself with these guys, I'll eventually get into like figure out how I can implement myself with whatever they're doing, and you know, and just grow. You know what I mean? Like, not be like, oh, like they think they're so cool because they got supercars. No, they worked hard for those supercars, you know? And so now I'm just like, hopefully they'll give me the chance to just hang around and, you know, get motivated by them. Yeah. And then start doing stuff with them too.
The American dream is not free. Nobody's going to hand you anything. And it's not an overnight success. So yeah, no, 100%. Now with your content y todo, you know, I know we're kind of reaching our ending to our interview. I kind of don't want it to end, but I know you have stuff to do. You know, with your content that you're creating, with these videos, with these things, what do you hope people remember most about you?
So I just want people to be like, whenever you sit down with me, that's why I do sit down with a lot of kids, younger people. Because at the end of the day, I want you to leave and be motivated. Be motivated to do something, you know, whether it be like whatever it is. Like recently I had my buddy, he came in here and sat down. He's only 17, and he told me he wanted to get into real estate. He wanted to like do this, and this. If he could just hang around with me, you know, if I ever needed help, he's like, just hit me up. He's like, bro, I'll come and help you for free. I just want to hang around with you, like to see, like to get involved. And he told me he wanted to get into real estate investing. And I was like, so I don't know the most about real estate investment, but I know this guy. His name is Anthony. I was like, let me come over here, sit down, have a chat with him, and he's going to tell you what you need to do to go do your sales job, come back and buy your first property. And so like I linked those guys up. They talked about it. He's super motivated. And he basically told them straight up, he's like, everybody wants to see like this real estate stuff, but no one actually wants to go and put in the work, save the money, because somebody gets a large amount of money from like a sales job, like when they do the summer sales. and they'll buy a nice car, they'll splurge, take vacations, buy nice clothes. He's like, everyone does that. He's like, there's reasons why there's only a select few who invest into property, and then like 4 or 5 years later, you're like, how did you get there? Yeah, well, you were spending your money on stupid things. I was investing my money, and now my money's like, it's paying off, you know?
Yes, yes. So you want them to remember you maybe as savvy and someone that's able to lend a helping hand?
Yeah, I love helping people. That's why I like helping. I'm trying to not be so biased with just women, you know, like, but at the end of the day, like if it's a bunch of girls asking me questions, and I understand because I've talked about it before, like I've done my fair share of like shady things with girls. So, you know, that's why I try to bring girls on. But at the end of the day, I just want to be able to help people. I want to be able to help them, like, whether it be like, say someone's going through like a toxic relationship, be like, you know what, you don't have, that's not how relationships work. You know, like you shouldn't have to, it's funny, this one girl told me, she told me, she's like, love shouldn't hurt, right? And she meant that in a bunch of different ways, saying like, love, you shouldn't be hit. You shouldn't have to go through like these type of emotions that you go through. So I want people to remember me like on TikTok for that. And not just that, just a great, great content creator, motivator, and just helpful, you know?
Well, I already consider you those things, Edgar.
Oh, thank you.
I already do, because wow, like it's just, I don't know, I wish there was more like you. You know, I'm really rooting for you, and I can't wait to see you where you are able to hire staff to help you.
Yeah, see, like I have the people who help me with like commercial stuff, but I want to get this to a point where it's running on its own.
Yes.
Like the revenue is just coming in. That way, that's another reason why I'm going to LA. I really don't want to. I'll tell you how far.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? Like starting to get companies like that paying for stuff. That way I can just be like, all right, you know, like this is what you're going to do. I'm going to pay you to edit all these videos and just, you know, edit them for me. This is how I want them. Send them to me and I'll just post them, you know?
I'm excited because I'm interviewing before all this happens. So when you become like super huge, you could be like, oh, I know her. Hopefully. No te olvides.
Even when I get there, just reach out to me. We'll do another one. Because my buddy, he started a podcast, and I've done 2 episodes with him. One of them we did here, and then another one, he now has a studio. He doesn't have all the greatest equipment, but he makes it work. Yeah. And so... And he's like, oh yeah, he's like, I need to do this. And he's going through his relationship issues. Like he's splitting with his girl. And so a lot of things are going on behind the scenes. I was like, bro, let me buy you the lights. Like, let me buy you some lights. And so I bought him the lights and stuff like that. He's like, you didn't have to. I was like, if I can help you in any way, man.
Out of your heart.
I was like, I'm not asking for anything in return. He's like, no. He's like, I'll put your logo on. I was like, you don't have to. I was like, here's the lights. I was like, I'm trying to help out. Because at the end of the day, I like it when people do like create like a podcast, YouTube channel, and I try to help wherever I can. If you want to have me on, hit me up. I'll try to find some time so I can come and be a guest on your podcast.
You are if you guys have something going on and you want to talk to Edgar, email him. He was very approachable through email. I didn't have to email him 10 times.
Don't DM me. That I tell people that all the time.
Yeah. Those get lost.
Oh, especially right now, it's just so crazy right now. Like, I don't even look at that. Some people are like, you haven't responded to me. I'm like, where'd you message me? They're like, on your Instagram. I'm not going to go look for it right now, man. Like, I was like, just, if I know, I'll be like, here, just text me or just email me or something like that. Just because I didn't realize, but that's where I saw the power of leveraging, because TikTok is sending all these followers over to Instagram. And now just the DMs are just blowing up. Hey, I got a question. Hey, I got a question. Hey, I got a question. And then, of course, there's the girls I'm not going to, like, some girls send me, like, out of nowhere, just send me nudes. Like, yeah.
Stop. Okay, so that was going to be, okay, so I have 2 more questions, and that was my next question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Because I'm sure, do you get harassed, Edgar?
It's gotten crazy. I wasn't expecting that. You know what I mean? Because, girls send me nudes. They'll send me all sorts of stuff. They'll send me that they want to... Some girl sent me a video of her saying, like, this is what I'm going to do to you if you come in.
No!
girls are wild on Instagram. The girls are wild. So I would lie if I was like, oh no, it's not. Like, you know, but here's the thing. Like, any other guy is probably gonna be like, oh yeah, my DMs are lit right now. But me, I'm just like, this is so stressful. Like, this is there's just so many like that are coming in that.
Wait. No, but en serio, Edgar. Do you respond back to them?
Not if they're just straight up like that. You know, like if the first conversation is like, here's a nude. I'm just like, well, how many other guys are you sending nudes to? Like, you know what I mean?
That's a good point. That's a good point.
Who else did you send this to? You know what I mean? It's like, so you got to think about it a little bit, you know. I get it. You probably saw my TikTok and you probably liked what I said on some of these TikToks. Because some of them, like I said, I'm just raw. I'm just honest, like how I am. Like, especially if I'm intimate with somebody, because some of them ask me some of that stuff. And I'll just be honest. Like, that's how I am. And then they probably they feel some sort of way with that. And they're like, oh, I want this guy, you know. And then they'll send me a nude out of nowhere, you know. Because, like, I don't see them because I have my notifications turned off.
Yeah.
But go through and like I'm starting to screenshot them. I'll click on the message. You'll say like image, and then like unblur the image, and I'm like, whoa.
Oh my god! Ni aunque esté bien buenota, you're like, damn it! Like, I don't know how many guys she sent this to, but she's hot.
And I would rather. I went through that phase of like just trying to hit up a bunch of girls. Because if I started responding to all the girls that I wanted to, I would just go back to exactly the same way that I was acting before. You know what I mean? Like, girls, and all of a sudden now I'm right back in, like, I'm that guy that these girls in this video. And at the end of the day, I said that I'm going to focus on my company, my business, and if I find somebody along the way, then cool. If they flirt with me, of course, like sometimes I'll throw like a flirt back, but then they just keep messaging me. And then after that, it just, you know what I mean? Like, I'm like,
you're like, I got stuff to do, girlfriend.
And some girl, she was on, I put a question thing up, like, what should I do when I hit 6 million views? And some girl posted on there, she's like, oh, well, you forgot about me on 2 million views. And I'm like, it's not even like that. I was like, I can't respond to everybody. Like, if I could respond to everybody, eventually I'll get to a point where I'll just give somebody my phone and be like, yo, just respond to people. Like, you know.
For me.
Yeah, I was like, well, you know, like, I have a company to run. I have things to do. I don't just sit on TikTok or Instagram all day.
It's very hard for me. I have to get on at nights to kind of see, and I only do like 30 minutes every night because I can't sit there and just scroll and scroll. I don't know what's going on in Instagram, to be honest with you. And I try to stay up on Instagram, but you know, I schedule all my releases like on YouTube, on Instagram. The only one I haven't been able to schedule is TikTok, but you know, I'll go in there, post something, get out. Because I don't have time to interact, and sometimes I get so many DMs that I'm just like, I can't answer. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
I try to answer the comments because at the end of the day, not only does it help your algorithm, but I also don't want to feel like I don't engage with the people who are following me. So I try to respond to the comments, but that's when I use, like, right before I'm going to go to bed, I'll jump on my TikTok and like see who's been commenting. I'll try to respond, even if it's just an emoji. I'll respond with that, you know, or I'll like the comment or something. You know, I just try to.
So just for the people that are listening, how long are your days, Edgar?
Oh, they're long. Like this morning, I was up about 6 my time, so it's probably around 5 here. Got ready, came over here, and then ran into a bunch of issues. The Zoom wanted to update, you know, and then the Wi-Fi is not working. I don't know why it's not working, but I just hotspotted it to that. So after this, I got to go film some more content. Well, first I'm going to go hit the gym, then I got to film some content, and then later we have a last minute gig. We're going to go do a baptism. They want photos and videos of like the whole event and stuff like that. So I started at about 6 a.m. I'm probably not going to be in bed until probably like 1, you know, and this is just like all day, like, work. It's not like, oh, I was just like a few hours just laying back, just hanging out, you know, anything like that. But at the end of like, that's why, and people always ask, they're like, well, how do you have this? How do you have that? Well, look at my days. And then like, then ask me, you know, like I'm putting in the work, but later on, like right now, I just want to put in that work right now. That's why, like, especially if you're younger, cause you don't want to get older and be like, now I have to put in that work because I never put it in when I was younger.
Exactly.
Well, that's why I was like, and plus I'm motivated to do it because I see the bigger goal.
Yeah.
And so that always just keeps motivating me. Like, all right, I can get there. I can get there. It's just going to take some time, going to take some work. Just grind it out. Like long days, it's fine. You're fine. You know what I mean? Like,
You got
as long
this. Yeah.
I find my balances. Like I finally felt like I need like a little bit of a breather. And so that's why this weekend I'm going to go to LA. But that weekend I also still have events going on, meaning like they also rent it out. I have photo booths that I rent out.
Yeah,
So
I saw that. I saw that on your links.
My brother runs, my little brother, shout out to him. He's been killing it. He just turned 21.
Oh, wow.
And him and my brother-in-law. So anytime we get like 360 events or mirror booth events, I send him or them to, and they do events. Like there's one this weekend. But that's a cool thing because I'm also making money while I'm not here. You know, I don't necessarily have to be here. And those get rented out like crazy here too because there's not that many like mine. My production value on those are super high, and in order to get there, you're gonna have to spend a lot of money to get there.
Yeah. Wow. Oh my God, Edgar. You're just very inspiring. I love that we're getting to know you a little bit more. One more question before you leave. The last question. Have you ever turned down an offer you later regretted?
Have I ever turned down an offer I later regretted?
Are you usually really good like accepting? Or I'm not accepting. I'm sorry. I'm saying yes to maybe.
No. So the question is, did I regret not taking an offer that I was offered?
Was there ever something that you turned down that was offered to you?
No.
That you regret?
There isn't. There is offers that I did take and I regretted taking.
Oh.
So, opposite. You know what I mean? Because then sometimes it's because you're learning. And I'm talking more about business. You know, like business. It's you think it's going to be a certain way, but it ends up not being, you know, a certain way. Things happen, and you're later on. You're like, man, I should have never took this offer. You know, like, or I should have never done this. But I don't think there's been an offer where it's been on the table because I have had people reach out to me that want to hire me full time for their company, and I'm just like, nah, I'm good. Like, because I know we're the bigger picture. I don't want to go work at your office and just be stuck there. You know, I like the fact that. Like, whoever I'm like, whatever content I'm gonna film, I can go do what I need to do. I can come back here. I can go do whatever I want. You know, like I'm not stuck to a place. So you know what I mean? Like, so I think it's only like certain clients that I took on that I did regret, like taking those offers. It was more of a just I was learning.
So you haven't missed an opportunity?
No, because I'm very calculated with what I do now. You know what I mean? Like I look at it's. How it's going to help me, if it's going to help me long term, short term, you know, that's why it'll help me decipher like how long I want to do a contract with somebody. You know what I mean? Like what I take a lot more into account. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And actually think about the decisions now. Before I would just be like, yeah, let's do it. You want to work with me? Cool. You know?
Yeah.
And now I'm more like, hold on, let me see. And then based off that, you give them a quote, and if they don't like it, be like, well, I know how much work I'm going to put in, and I know how much more work you're going to try to add on, you know?
Yes.
And so,
yes, you're more savvy with it because you've learned along the way.
Yeah, and people don't realize that. They just see, like yourself, they'll see like where your podcast is getting, but they won't see everything else that goes on.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot, and I'm so glad that you talked about that because anybody watching could be like, oh yeah, this guy just sits there and everything just magically appears, the lighting's perfect just because, you know, the gods of the lights are can you
sorry.
No,
Yeah, I can hear you.
you know, because the gods of the lights are on your side. So yeah, I love that you're going into detail about that. And girls, please stop sending him nudes and overwhelming his DMs.
The biggest thing for me is like, if you want to get, because the girls ask me all the time, like, how do you get your attention? It was like, well, stop trying to get my attention that way, you know, because of course that works with a lot of guys. If you send a guy right now a DM of you doing whatever you want to do in the video or the pictures, you know, a guy's gonna be like, yo, what's up, girl, what's happening, you know, and things like that. I'm just like, more like, well, how many dudes did you send this to, you know?
Yeah. No, you know what? Something that I've even realized the other day, I was talking to a friend and he was like, oh yeah, I'm talking to this girl and she sent me her nudes. And I'm like, bro, it hasn't even been 24 hours. Like, the hell, this is not the girl for you. And he's like, oh, stop it. Like, if you don't send your husband, I'm like, actually, my husband does not like nudes. In the sense of, he's so scared of that being like, you know, on the phone, because you never know where that stuff is stored, you know, with the companies and all that. And he's like, I just don't want that. And he's like, if I ever want to see you, I just close my eyes and imagine it. That's it. And so he was like, oh my God, you're just so uptight. I'm like, no, it's just, I don't know. There's just something about, you know, girls nowadays just doing that. I don't know. If I was a guy, I'd be thinking like you think.
Yeah, see, and it's just more if, like, if you, like I said, if you want to get my attention, just, I love having conversations like this, you know, sitting down, having conversations with people, because I can talk forever. That's for sure. And so when I go on dates and stuff like that, I hate it when girls can't communicate, meaning like they can't bring up like great conversations. It's not always about like, hey, how was your day? How's this doing? Like, you know, like, if I feel like I'm interviewing somebody, meaning like, hey, how's your day? What's your favorite color? What music do you like? And stuff like that. That's boring to me. Yeah. I'm more of like, oh, hey, I listened to this podcast and like they said this. And then if she's like, oh yeah, like I think this and this and this about, like, say we're talking about space, that excites me. And I'm like, oh damn, like she's having a great conversation with, you know, compared to like, oh yeah, my friend Jessica, her man cheated on her. It was so funny. Like, she's so sad. I'm like, I don't care about that, you know?
I don't even know Jessica. What the hell?
I don't even know her.
And I could care less what's going on with Kim Kardashian.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, 100%. I think now as I get older, I'm like, I think guys just value the conversation that a woman can carry, how she carries herself. Is very important. And I think that's what makes women sexy to guys. Her mentality, how she thinks, how she expresses herself, how she carries herself. My husband, I remember when we first started dating, I was like, you know, I got a lot of bullying from my mom and my sister about, I was the gorda in the family. Come to find out, I never was the gorda. It's just I was a little bit thicker than them, but not gorda. But he would tell me, he's like, I don't care how you look. You know what's your best attribute? And I'm like, what? He goes, you're confident. So work on that. And I was just like, okay. You know, and it's been a struggle, but you know, a confidence to him, he says, he's like, any guy, ask any guy, that's what they want, confidence.
Yeah. I want a girl, like I said, that is confident in having conversations, you know, confident, that portrays himself confident, not like, hey, I'm like, have my out and, you know, and everything like that. No, not that type of course, if you want to look sexy like that, cool. But it's more of like how you portray yourself, like confident wise, how you talk, how you communicate. Like, you can tell someone's confidence based off of that. Yes. You know, it's not someone. And there is a difference between cockiness and confidence. So some people listening be like, there's a difference between being super cocky. I can be like, yes, some of the shit I know. No, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no. Yeah, you tell right away the difference.
No, not me.
Oh, man. Well, you have been awesome, Edgar. Thank you so much for joining us today. I look forward to seeing you again. Hopefully this is not the last time.
Yeah, just let me know. We can try to schedule another one.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us. Have a good one. Bye. I want to hear your story, or I want to support your small business. To do so, please go ahead and visit embracingmymarkings.com. Thank you for tuning in.